To QI, where tonight is a chaotic clutter of K-words. Let's clock the contestants. The kind-hearted Sara Pascoe. The Calipigian Jack Whitehall. The knowledgeable David Mitchell. Knock me down with a kangaroo, it's Alan Davies. And this week's call signs are all K creatures. Sarah goes...
Is it a bird?
Yes.
OK, it's a bird.
Famous movie? And a British wonderful...
The man who was in love with a kestrel.
Short and kestrel to
Kes.
the... Kes, yeah.
Oh, that was
but
my
that's
question.
The film. Very good. And Jack goes... Oh, probably know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that is Kevin Bacon getting into really hot water. I'd know that sound anywhere. He likes it lukewarm.
He does.
Kookaburra.
Is the right answer to Kookaburra. David goes...
Is that a Klingon spacecraft?
Killer bee. Killer bee.
Killer bee.
Exactly, there you go. And Alan goes... That's genuine animal recording.
Kangaroo.
No.
Koala.
Yes!
Yes!
It's a koala! Who'd have thought that a koala sounded like that? Anyway, there we go. Just before we start, I've got a bit of very good news for you, David, because your old nemesis, Colin, the QI scorer, has been replaced by a new scorer called Murray, who happens to be a huge fan of yours. So I think that bodes well for this evening.
Well, I'm very glad to hear it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Told me too late to bribe him.
What's happened to Colin, though? Why
He's been promoted, actually. He's now, I think, probably counting votes in the House of Lords, or something similar. But
We're one step away from the House.
Yeah.
yes, we are. Exactly.
I think this programme would be an excellent House of Reform.
It would, wouldn't
just
it?
let all the legislation come before us. We'll fiddle with it. Hopefully, gag it up a bit.
Yeah.
Send it on to the Queen.
Exactly. My government will find 6 penises on this particular insect. Tends to be about the QI. Anyway, let's kick off. What is this? It's a noise. Listen out carefully. We're beginning with K.
Yeah, a klaxon.
Oh! In a strange sort of way, pop just ate itself, didn't it? A klaxon gave a klaxon. We call it the klaxon. It's not actually a klaxon.
So is that a brand name? Like the Tannoy
Brilliant.
or a Hoover?
Yeah, absolutely right, just like Tannoy or Hoover.
So what is it, an alarm?
It's basically a siren, a noise, an alarm noise, exactly. Klaxon has a very specific sound. It belongs to a company called Lovell McConnell Manufacturing. They were first fitted to cars, and they were the first electric thing ever to be attached to an automobile. The klaxon.
So they needed an alarm before a light?
So the sound we heard was just, you just call it some general word, but technically it's not a klaxon. Now, automobiles, America, the land of the free, the land of the automobile. You can imagine that in places like Pennsylvania, they must have welcomed them when they arrived, yes?
No.
No. It's the right answer. Alan, you're really getting the hang of
Played
this.
this before. You have to intuit.
You would be astounded by the Farmers Anti-Automobile Association of Pennsylvania with its list of impractical requirements for motorists. Automobiles travelling on country roads at night must send up a rocket every mile. And then wait 10 minutes for the road to clear. The driver may then proceed with caution, blowing his horn and shooting off Roman candles. If the driver of an automobile sees a team of horses approaching, he is to stop, pull to one side of the road, almost cover his machine with a blanket or dust cover, which is painted or coloured to blend into the scenery. In case a horse is unwilling to pass an automobile on the road, the driver of the car must take the machine apart as rapidly as possible and conceal the parts in the bushes. Really didn't want motor cars in honking the horn, is that a sensible, safe thing to do? Does it avoid accidents?
Oh, it'll frighten the horses.
Well, obviously, let's assuming we're talking about now when there aren't any.
Wouldn't it raise
very
aggression? Hearing a loud noise makes you probably release adrenaline, and then your instincts would be flawed, I would have thought.
I think you're absolutely right.
Have you ever driven in Italy?
Oh,
I've been on tour in Italy, and the word go is die in Italy.
Avanti.
Die! Like, I'm 19, I'm not a driver.
No, but you're absolutely right. There is no evidence that using the horn contributes to safety.
There's something interesting with police sirens, isn't there? Because it's two different notes, and the reason is if you hear one note for a long time, you can't tell where it's coming from.
That's exactly right. You genuinely can't tell. Is that in front of me, or is it behind me? You just don't know. In America, they have a very good rule when you hear a siren on the road.
Yeah.
You just simply stop driving.
Yeah.
And go
Absolutely.
and have a meal.
And then... But it actually somehow works out incredibly well, and the emergency vehicle just...
But they have wider roads,
They have
probably.
much wider roads, of course, yeah. But it does work
I
fantastically,
usually
and
try
everybody does it.
See which of the emergency services it is, and then decide.
Oh, it's only an ambulance they don't count, or it's only a fire.
What is that, then?
It's the police. There's something sort of vaguely right-wing about it.
So where were we? Yes, horn sounding does not, it seems, contribute to the safety of drivers at all. In Britain, we have almost zero tolerance of hooting your horn. But even more intolerant were the Nazis. And in 1936, they started
They're
putting...
not known for their intolerance.
No, I know. It's surprising. but we thought
This hooting has become intolerable.
We thought
I think.
we thought we knew everything they were intolerant of, but it turns out even hooting your horn, they would actually punish the driver by putting yellow dots on their car. So it was like a sign, like, here's a hooter. He sounds his horn and people would turn their back.
I've completely changed my opinion of the Nazis. I thought they were a pretty reasonable bunch of guys. This yellow dot business.
It is just shocking, aren't they? Anyway, there you go. So the QI klaxon isn't a klaxon at all. Now, everyone knows what knees, knuckles and kidneys are, but what's the point of these less familiar cave parts of the body? Kieselbach's plexus, the valves of Kirkring, the end bulbs of Krauser, the balls of Cone.
That is the best nickname for someone's balls ever. Behold, the end bulbs of Kraus!
Kneel before the end
Kneel
bulbs
before
of
them.
Krauser.
It is not all Star Trek movies.
Star Trek 19, the valves of Kirkring, Kieselberg's plexus. They are magnificent names. They are all parts of the human anatomy. The valves of Kirkring are actually folds. Would that help you at all? Where do we have lots and lots of folds?
Intestines?
Yes. Well done. Get in there. He's got in there with our smaller gut. There it is, the valves of Kirkring.
This is like the QI version of that game, Operation.
So what had Kirkring done that someone named disgusting, shitty bits of the body after?
He was a 17th century Dutch anatomist who was a friend and co-eval of the philosopher Spinoza. And as you know from those wonderful Rembrandt paintings, the anatomy was a big subject in Holland. They were fascinated and curious. So fantastic discoveries being made, and one of them was this lower intestine, which is 22 feet long and a few inches wide, but if unfolded, it would cover a tennis court.
Surely
just
that's...
yours, a tennis court, and mine. Well, 2 tennis courts.
What, the whole of the tennis court or just the lines?
The whole of the tennis court, including for doubles play. It's pretty astonishing.
So what's interesting about the intestine is we used to be herbivores, which is why we have so much intestine, because when you only eat plants, you have to take a really long time digesting to get everything out of them. And now we're carnivores, and it's sometimes why we have digestive problems in terms of dairy and stuff. But giant pandas, who are carnivores, they have they were carnivores.
Oh, were they?
So we're one of only 3 species that have changed over, one to the other. It's us pandas and squirrel.
Squirrels used to be carnivore.
A kind of squirrel that I can't remember. But giant pandas, that's why they have so much problem, because they have a very short intestine without all of these flaps. So they only eat bamboo, which goes straight through them, which means they have to eat it all day long.
I know, it's so boring.
That's why they never have sex.
Yeah, exactly.
As a rule, you can't have sex on indigestion.
You definitely get points for that.
What happened that the pandas gave up on meat?
Evolution and their circumstances, their
I mean, it's not
environments.
working very well for them.
You're going to get logically cross with them now.
I mean, it seems...
They took a wrong step.
Idiotic. They can't... there's like 25 minutes a year they're going to have sex and it will work if they can be bothered, which they never can. They look ridiculous.
Let's not bring looks into this.
I'm not saying they're not sweet, but they're not dignified, are they? Then the wise panda came. Never mind what the panda thinks. The panda's an idiot.
OK.
If you want to make bungle in Rainbow seem high status, bring on a panda.
I'm with David on this. If you're endangered, you eat what you get. Like, if a rhino turned around and was like, sorry, no carbs before marbs, then it deserves to be. Young person reference.
They probably used to eat things that don't exist anymore.
Oh, like dinosaurs. Little guys. Lovely little crunchy one.
Really light pandas. Used to go up and go, oh, they're really... Oh!
That would be evolution. Great.
What's
you
that?
evolved to look cute to something you want to eat.
Yes, back to parts of the body. Those are the vowels of Kirkring. What about these, then? The pores of cone.
The bell ends.
No, we're going to come to the bell ends, Alan. Wait for the bell ends. They will come. But the pores of cone. I don't know what's going to come up. I never know what's going to issue
It's
from
another
me.
ringtone. I can't wait. That is Twitter in a nutshell.
Aye, aye, aye. The pores of cone are incredibly important. We need them deeply.
There
They're
are
not
holes
pores...
in the surface of the skin.
Not in the skin. Those are where we have obviously millions of pores.
They're an internal pore.
They're internal pores.
Is it on bones?
No, not in bones. They're in
bone
order to
marrow.
equalise pressure.
In the lungs.
And as a backup system in the lungs, exactly right, yeah. Named after a German pathologist who was expelled by the Nazis in 1933. But there they are.
Did he bib his horn?
Yes.
I found some pores in the lungs!
I wish it were for such a
Out,
good
get
thing.
out.
There you go.
And amazingly, they form an emergency backup system along with the canals of Lambert and the fenestrations of Boron.
I thought you said butler. That would have been perfect.
I know what a defenestration is chucking someone out of a window, so a fenestration is presumably chucking someone in.
No, it's just a window shaping, I think, a window-making
right.
thing. It was the defenestration of Prague, wasn't it? It was a historical event. Quite know what happened there, but...
People got thrown out.
Out of windows.
Yeah.
The whole city wasn't thrown out of a window.
In Prague.
Yes, in Prague, in Prague. But the...
Defenestration of Amsterdam was a historical event that happened on a stag do that I attended.
I'm sure it did.
Those prostitutes do not like getting touched.
Oh.
Not me!
Oh, right. You mean the window ones?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I got you.
Yeah.
Just for a minute, I was really
I'm
disturbed.
not there.
No, no.
By the way, if I was, that's how I do it.
You'd never be out of work, I promise you. The end bulbs... the end bulbs...
Work. I mean,
The end
work.
bulbs of Krauser.
Yeah.
Now, what could they be?
The helmet.
We have them on the genitalia in mulberry-like clusters, as a matter of fact.
Mulberry-like.
Mulberry-like. We have a lot of them on
What,
the
the little
genitals.
funny bits on the...
Pimple bits on the right that are all...
Do that! It's like scooter.
Yeah, those bits.
Those pimply bits there and there.
Area here. You know when you take it out to go to the loo, right? And then you get the winch down.
I have to take a stepladder to go to the loo.
Hey. No, they're smaller than that, but they are incredibly sensitive to a particular condition.
Lady.
About one. To what lady? Particular lady, no. We also have them all over the skin, not just, but they are very concentrated on the genitalia for a particular reason. Particularly the male genitalia are very sensitive to your swinging...
Is that cheating?
Yes. Yeah, I have a special isolated camera above you. I just thought I'd warn you. Well, I do.
Sorry, Colin.
But, no, as you know, the survival of spermatozoa is very dependent on a very narrow range of what?
Temperature.
Temperature, exactly.
That's why we've got balls.
Yeah.
Because they have to be kept separate from the... It's like
Precisely.
hanging milk outside a student room. Yes. Keep it cold.
So if it's very, very warm, they
Yeah.
sort of tend to droop down and sort of swing a bit, get the air around them.
Yes.
And it's very, very cold, they shrink up.
They
and
tend to head home.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. And snuggle up to the blood supply.
Or if you're watching Loose Women.
Or maybe. Yes.
In a cold room.
Yes, in a cold room. So, yes, these endobulbs crowser are tiny little bits all over the skin, not just the genital. They're not as big as
Whose willy's that?
No, they're not just... to make it clear, they're all over the body.
He needs to see a doctor.
They're not the goose pimples themselves, no. They're tiny, and they sense cold.
But could you see an end bulb of Crowther?
I don't think so. I think
they're too small to see.
Yeah.
But they're there working out if it's cold.
Yes.
If it's hot, they knock off.
Yeah, absolutely right. They're activated by temperatures lower than 20 degrees Celsius.
Oh, they're pretty busy in this country.
Yeah, they certainly are. They certainly are. And so that leaves us with Kieselbach's plexus. A plexus, as in complex, is a sort of network.
So it's a nerve-endings thing, is it?
The brain.
The brain, yeah.
No, actually, it's a network of connected arteries.
The heart.
No.
I'm just going to say things. And that's it. I've connected.
It's in the nasal septum. Yeah, it's a little network of arteries. It's around the point where we're most likely to have a nosebleed. Oh. And we've covered this before, Alan. When you have a nosebleed, Alan, you should pinch your nose and lean...
Forwards.
Lean
well,
back.
remember...
No, well,
forward.
Just in time.
Yeah, just in time. If you lean back, the blood might go down your throat. Anyway.
This picture you've got of Tara Palmer Tompkinson with her makeup off is amazing.
Now, why do doctors hit your knee with a hammer?
To test your reflexes.
Yeah.
That's correct. But what reflexes are they?
The reflexes are the...
It's a muscle...
You know the score.
It's always a really...
He's so no Murray.
It's always a really cold hammer, so maybe they're testing the end bulbs of Kirchel-Bircher Coucher.
No, it's not the end bulb. It's
Because they don't like...
There's nerves that run from the thigh upwards to the...
head.
No. No, you would think that.
It's something to do... So the expression's like a knee-jerk response.
A knee-jerk reaction, yeah, knee-jerk.
Because it doesn't go to the brain.
Yeah,
it goes... It communicates amongst itself.
Well, it goes
somehow.
up to the spinal cord. It doesn't go all the way up to the brain at all.
Yeah.
So it is unmediated by the brain entirely. It is absolutely an
And it only happens in two times. One is when you get hit on the knee with a little hammer like that, and the other is when you're asleep on a crowded train. It's only two times. And you never see a doctor rushing off with a little hammer.
So what are they hoping to see, doctors, when they tap you on the knee?
So they want you to do that. They want you to kick.
Actually, if it's too big, it could be a sign of really bad things. Oh. So that is a pretty healthy one.
Sorry, this footage is on loop.
It's on loop.
Oh, yeah. This is the worst medical ever. Just stop the bloody knee. Grab my balls, I cough, and let's leave.
No, it's the relative strength of the twitch that is really important. Too much of a twitch might indicate a brain tumour, stroke, liver disease, multiple sclerosis, or tetanus. And too little might mean botulism, damaged nervous system, or an infected spine. And none at all would well be an index or a sign of...
Or wooden leg.
wooden leg.
Or death.
Or death. Or syphilis.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You don't get much of that anymore. You
As
don't
if that
get
was
much
tonight's
of it.
star prize. Yeah. Forget gonorrhea, go for syphilis. You keep the chlamydia, all right? That's yours. No one can take that away. The chlamydia's yours, the genital warts are yours. I'm pointing at both of you.
I think the whole point with chlamydia is people can take it away from you.
That's right. Anyway,
What if you did a murder with your reflex? If someone sort of attacked your knee and then reflex, you had a knife attached to your shoe or something, and you killed them, would you be able to say, but the reflex, it didn't go to my brain, it only went to the bottom of my spine, so I didn't really do it?
Yes.
That's like when you're driving and you have an automated response. It's called like murder by automaton, but you don't go to prison. So if you sneeze, for instance, and then you run someone over, someone sneezed.
Talk about a reflex.
That means there's been a murder.
That's murdered someone.
Now they know they'll get away with it. Wow. It's something like...
You walk into a room with a gun, cocked, sneeze, it goes off, you kill someone, you're in the clear.
So if you want to kill your wife, what you do is you drive down to Dover, you get her right up against a cliff, and then you put your leg behind her and then get a doctor to tap the knee. Off she goes.
And the doctor would go to prison.
That would act up.
The doctor would go to prison.
I think so.
What if he was sneezing as he tapped the knee?
The perfect crime.
Yeah.
Broadchurch Series 2.
I
I love this imaginary super compliant wife that you've found.
To be taken.
Just come all the way here and stand there. What are you doing here?
Why does the GP come with us?
Get her out of the house.
It's a lovely view, my love. Stand still.
So, when you're hammered, a knee-jerk response is a total no-brainer. Now, what's a knocker-upper's knocker-upper?
Well, that would be the person that wakes the person that went around the streets waking people by bashing their windows with a long stick.
Is completely, utterly and entirely the right answer.
Oh.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. It seems obvious when you think about it that after the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, as people flocked into cities, they didn't work the usual daylight hours. They had worked in the countryside, and there were no such things as alarm clocks. So they had to be woken up for getting to mill by a tap on the window by a man with a long stick.
So did these guys stay up all night?
That's the point. A knocker-upper's knocker-upper, as David rightly said, was someone who did stay up all night. And then their last act was to wake up the sleeping knocker-uppers. And then they'd go to bed and be on the night shift, you know, as it were. There was a famous Limehouse knocker-upper called Mary Smith, but she had a fantastic technique, which was shooting peas out of a pea shooter at the windows. Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
And she look a marvellous sight?
Yeah.
Mary is my kind of woman.
Yeah?
Put it this way.
Would
If Mary was round mine, she would not be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's wonderful photograph. The way she's got her hand on her hips. But anyway, there you are. A knocker-upper's knocker-upper was a human alarm clock's human alarm clock. Now, what colour is a red kite?
Oh.
Blue.
Oh.
Red. White.
No, thank you. Thank you. The thing is, they were named. They were named before the English language had a word for orange. We just used the word red for anything that was orange as well. We had the word orange for a fruit. We didn't use it for the colour till the 16th century.
We always think it was the colour that named the fruit, and it's not. It's the fruit that named the colour.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's true of a robin redbreast, which is clearly orange, not red. We call it a redbreast. Same with the red squirrel. There you are. That's orange. There's no two ways about it. And indeed, red-headed people. It's not red if they had red hair. I mean, some people do through modern use of dyes, don't they? Some of your young friends, I expect. And red deer, similarly, are not red, but they were all named before the word orange existed as a colour choice.
In those days, people would say, what's the name of that red fruit? Oh, the orange.
Yes.
Yeah, pass me one of them.
Exactly.
It could have been, not the orange that made it catch on, but the front of a robin. We could all have, you know, front of a robin brand phones. What colour is it? Oh, it's front of a robin. You know,
it would be confusing.
I'm just eating an orange. It's such a bright shade of front of a robin.
And when people were getting bullied in the playground, it would be way less offensive. Oi, front of the robin pubes. Like that.
But why is a robin associated with Christmas?
Oh, is this something to do with Jesus? I know he's very Christmassy.
Jesus.
Do you know?
Is Jesus Christmassy?
I don't think he is, considering he started it all. I don't think he's all that Christmassy.
I don't think you can hold it against him, really.
No, it's
He's
not his
not
fault.
entering into the spirit of Christmas.
Cheer up.
Watch Morecambe and Wise and have some Quality Street. Bring everyone down.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not surprised he's lost control of the festival. Commercialism and Father Christmas, because he's not putting the effort in.
He is at Easter time, but we're not that
anyway.
interested.
Yeah, he's losing that to bloody eggs and bunnies.
That's true, that's true.
So I was thinking about Jesus, because isn't there a story where the robin takes thorns out of his hands and then gets his
Lovely
red
idea.
breast?
There may well be. They may have
there's a
tried to
story,
post-connect the
yeah.
robin to... because it's obviously only in Britain that it wouldn't be nearly as much snow around the Mediterranean, certainly not in Palestine.
Not
Again, not Christmassy, is it?
No.
Where Jesus lived wasn't very Christmassy.
No, it really wasn't. I was so angry about that.
I actually know this.
Yes,
the robin is associated with Christmas because it's the only bird within the natural world that round the period of December flies back to its original nest with its robin parents, gives them a little bit of alcohol and then has to sit there as they're a little bit... I I learnt it in biology.
That's very good. Now, the actual reason is because we associate Christmas with Christmas cards, and Christmas cards were delivered by postmen wearing bright red uniforms who were known as redbreasts or robins. That was their nickname. The robins come around for Christmas, and so people started putting on Christmas card a robin to show that a robin would be delivering it. And it was that reason, which is unusual. But to return to our red kites, do you know anything about red kites in Britain?
I do. They were reintroduced. They'd gone extinct in England, and they were reintroduced very successfully.
That's
and
right.
There's loads of them in
there
the
are.
south of England.
The thing was, in medieval times, it was actually the law that you had to kill one if you saw one. You actually had to kill it? Yes, you had to. If you were seen observing a red kite without trying to kill it, you were breaking the law. Wow. That was really absurd. So the numbers drastically reduced. Fortunately, there now are 1,800 breeding pairs of red kites. It's been a hugely successful reintroduction. And lastly, how did the monkey wrench get its name?
I'm nervous of this, because this was a fact that came up on The Unbelievable Truth.
The marvellous Radio 4 quiz show they did.
It has happened before that facts we've asserted on The Unbelievable Truth have been, I think the word is mocked. This programme for being factually incorrect. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't do all the fact-checking.
Ditto, I have to say.
But on that show, what was given to me on a piece of paper to read out was the fact that the monkey wrench was named after a person whose name was something like Monka, and he was some kind of, I don't know, technical...
You could not have parenthesised it more, but nonetheless, we are beastly rivals of yours. And you did mock us in your last series when you...
Again, well, the person that handed me the piece of paper put on it a piece of QI fact error mockery.
Exactly. We had
it's
said...
turning into war.
I know, you're right. From now on, it is peaceful.
But we're like, in this war, we're like the southern states. We haven't got the resources, and we're going to turn to racism as a result.
That Jew boy Fry said. I hope you don't go that far. But no, we incorrectly said that René Descartes, believed that monkeys could speak, but didn't, because if they did, it would put them to work. In fact, Descartes reported that he had heard this belief. And you correctly said that, and mocked us correctly.
Right.
It was a rap over the knuckles. But there you go, that's -50 to David, of course.
So what
The answer, actually, is it's a kind of rather gigantic, not quite sure. The Americans
so we might be
claim
right.
it. No, we know that it isn't Mr. Monkey, because an article written in the 1880s said that the true inventor, Charles Monkey, was dying in poverty despite inventing this incredibly useful thing. The problem here is the term monkey wrench was used in England as early as 1807, and these articles were written in the 1880s, so it's just obviously completely impossible for that to be the case. It's generally believed that it's the face of it reminded people of the jaws of a monkey, you know, or that a monkey version of something in the Navy is a sort of rigging up of something.
But it's not all bad news for Mr. Monkey, because he is the originator of the phrase "spank the monkey." So, you know, he didn't die in vain.
Exactly. Well, there we go. So I'm sorry about that, -50. Nobody knows how or why a monkey wrench is so called, though we do know that it wasn't for the reason given on David's otherwise excellent and superb radio show. Which brings us to the matter of scores.
Oh, dear.
Goodnessly, graciously...
Murray can't help me now.
I'm afraid it's pretty inevitable that in last place with -41 is David Mitchell.
Oh.
Which,
It means I was on 9.
Yes, it does. You were on +9. And you saved Alan from ignominy, who is on -20 in third place. A magnificent second place for Jack Whitehall, -7. But what a QI kind of mind, what an incredible score, what an amazing debut from Sara Pascoe with +28. That's all for this week, so it's good night and thank you from Sarah, Jack, David, Alan and me. Good night.